All right. Good morning, everybody. Good evening or good afternoon, whatever you are, what part of the country you're in. Welcome to another session, Conversations with Geoff. We are so glad to be here again. And I got to tell you, man, I had the first opportunity to talk to our guest. Oh, boy, you're going to want to make sure you clear your message, clear your calendar so you can make sure you dial into what she's got to say, right? I mean, it's just a phenomenal young lady that we're going to bring up in just a few minutes. So thank you, everyone, for being our support team. Thank you, everyone, for passing on our messaging and showing up, whether you're seeing live or the replays. We really appreciate that, right? And so I was thinking today, by the way, the weather in Texas and Houston in the fall is fantastic. I mean, 86, no humidity, just blue skies, just a wonderful thing, right? And why am I talking about weather? Because it's interesting. You guys that know me know I always like to kind of give you something to think about. And, I like letters. And I picked the letter P today because there's so many words that start with a P, right? Like power, like purpose. And, our whole thing around here is helping you find your purpose, right? And perspectives and then persuasion and patience, right? I mean, just peace, right? The peace sign, man. I mean, just so many things that we've come up with. And so today, I was thinking about perspective. And I'll tell you why. Because I was on the elevator and my wife and I were coming out, leaving, and one of my neighbors got on and we said, "Hey, how you doing? Good morning." He said, "Oh, man, first thing out of his mouth was, I hate mornings." Right? I mean, so and we smiled at him and we said, "Okay, well, that's good. Well, how about trying to enjoy the morning?" Right? And he smiled again. He said, "You're right, man. I'm setting my day up to fail." Right? So it's all about being aware of what people are saying and what you're saying to yourself, and then giving yourself the benefit of the doubt, right? Because the stinking thinking exists. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm my worst critic. I'm my worst everything when it comes to holding myself back with limiting beliefs, limiting perspective, because of that trained voice that runs nonstop, right? There's a dual conversation that happens each and every day. And so, this guy got off the elevator and he was happy, and it made me think about something my wife did years ago when we were in Virginia. She took a little Post-it note and she put on the Post-it note, praise and compliment. And she put it by the door. And that note stayed by that door for years, right? I mean, you think about it was just a Post-it note, right? And it was praise and compliment everybody you meet. And man, what a difference that has made, right? And it helps me, and the word I picked today, in my perspective on things, right? Because I put a definition in the chat. If you take a look at it, and there's a whole lot of different definitions around perspective. And so, whatever you might feel about what is in there, please take a look at it. It simply says perspective, a particular attitude toward a way of regarding something, a point of view. Right. So how are you regarding your life when you're in struggles? How are you regarding, like our guest coming up talking about earlier, when her life got turned upside down? How are you regarding your life, your attitude? What's your attitude, point of view at that time when life shows up? Right? Because the only thing, things change, but you're still the same person. Things change and you either can control them or you can't. Right? In either way, man, we owe it to ourselves to remember the power of finding peace in our turmoil, right? Finding peace when we don't know what's coming next. Finding peace when the tension is just about to drive us crazy because our world is falling apart. So I say to you today, as we look at the things that happen in your life, watch your perspective, guard your perspective, right? And because we have external noise going on and internal noise going on. And it's hard to kind of stay level. And sometimes we get caught up in it, and that happens. But hit the reset button. We talk a lot about this conversation with Geoff, becoming aware of our purpose, becoming aware of what your conversation you're having with yourself about yourself is doing to you, right? Hit the pause button Okay, and like our guest, she has a message about R's to read. There's reset, realign, repurpose, all these things, right, that you can do at that time and replace that chatter that's going on. So anyway, I encourage you all to share this information, subscribe to the channel. When you come on, whether you come on live or you come on replay, let us know where you're from. And remember, it's the stinking thinking that's holding you back. And the stinking thinking no longer has to be the reason why things continue to be the way you don't want them to be. Because you can change your stinking thinking, change your thoughts, and change your life, man. Right? So anyway, hey, listen, let me just tell you. Yeah, I'm excited to bring her here. Our speaker is a, she's also obviously a speaker, author, an entrepreneur, and her focus is around, fellas, you need to stay tuned to this. I don't care what I'm about to say. You need to listen because she's already got some powerful things that we can learn as men. But her focus is empowering women to live their life full out. So I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, put down whatever you got going on, get ready to listen and participate with our next guest, Tanya Russell. Bring her up here. Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am fabulous. I love mornings.
That was crazy. I mean, we looked at him and I'm like, come on, man, what a way to set your day.
Another day our eyes are open, right?
Yeah. So it's crazy. But hey, listen, Tanya, I appreciate you showing up today. We were talking about some things earlier on before the show went live, and I want to make sure we get to that. But is there anything I left out about what you have going on in terms of who you are or anything like that before we kind of get into it?
Well, I think you nailed it, other than I'm a God girl.
That's an important piece not to forget to mention, right? I mean, so have you always been in that space, or is that something that's kind of come along as your life has changed, or how's that been for you?
Well, I was born and raised in a Christian home, so I've kind of known Jesus my whole life. Like many people, I definitely didn't live 100% for God my entire life, but I've found him, or when I look back at my experiences, I know he was always there, even if I wasn't always focused on him.
Yeah, I love that. There's a poem, I guess, and it's Footprints in the Sand. Are you familiar with that? And there was a point in my life, Tanya, where I'll never forget this. I was standing. It was I was in that reset stage in my life, right? And I was kind of like, man, just lost spiritually and emotionally, but I was just dressed up garbage can. Nobody could tell, right? It was okay. And I read this poem. It was on the mantle in my home, and the last part of it says, it says something about I only saw one set of footprints at a certain point in time. And I think that's when I was carrying you, my son. Right?
Amen.
It was like, wow. Right? Because I had been disconnected also. So anyway, thank you. That's the only where that came from. I'll try and stay on track with that.
I've been carried many times myself. So
yeah, well, you know what I mean, right? It was just like, wow. It's just, he never leaves us and never lost and never forsaken. So I appreciate that. So you're a God girl now, and you're also an entrepreneur. What kind of businesses are you involved in?
Well, I've been an entrepreneur since I was, I think, 19. So it's been many years, over 25 now. Done all kinds of different things, but currently I own a day spa and a couple of tanning salons. I also do rentals, and I coach and an author and speaker. So that's kind of what my focus now and my passion is helping other women, though, like to kind of overcome the things that they're going through and to take my experience and help them through that process faster than I got through. Just kind of compress the time frames, because yeah, I've been through a lot, and God's brought me through a lot, and I just feel like if you don't use those experiences to help the next person, then what was the purpose in it all?
Ooh, man, power, power statement right there. I mean, what is the purpose? Because we all have these what we call experiences ahead of us, or in them to become who we're supposed to become, like you just said, right? So we were talking earlier too. And this kind of fits here. You have just you're an author and you had spent some time getting this book together. Everything looked like it was going to be wonderful. Some things happened. You want to tell us about that experience?
Yeah, I'd always wanted to write a book, and there was a time in my life, like my businesses were going really good. I was making good money, and I got really complacent and content with my life, and just like, why do I have to keep working? Why, like, and God kind of got a hold of me. He said, I didn't allow you to have all these blessings and bring you through all these things to just sit here and do nothing with the rest of your life when you're like 45, right? So I had always wanted to write a book, and I had an outline, and I just never really sat down and took the time to do it. Well, God kind of gave me a little motorcycle accident that laid me up for a bit. And while I was recovering from that, I thought, well, now's a good time to just like take these 4 weeks and pound out this book. So I wrote the book, and it was only about less than a month, I think. And then, of course, you go through all the edits and the processes and all those kinds of things. And I super excited about it. And I published it in May 2 years ago was when it was released. And 8 days after the book released, my stepson from my marriage to my kid's father, he took his own life. And it was just rocked our world as a family. I'm not with my kid's dad anymore. We've been divorced for a long time, but I'd always stayed in really close contact with Brandon and, of course, my kids. That was their big brother and their hero. And it was just something that, I mean, I've experienced a lot of loss in my life. Like my dad died when I was young, and my brother and my best friend was killed in a car accident. I'd been through a lot, but never had experienced suicide, and never a loss that like just rocked my kids' world like that. And trying to get myself through it and bring my kids through this loss was really, really a hard experience. And I mean, everyone experiences grief differently,
Yeah.
but it was a tough thing and tough time. And so my focus obviously on my book and everything else just kind of went away.
Yeah.
And then just started to get back into like, okay. And I started coaching women again. And it was 9 months after that loss that my mom passed away from. She had a fall in a care home and never recovered from that. So it was like a really, really tough year and a half getting through these losses, and really being kind of angry at God, like, hey, I thought you wanted me to do this, and I thought this was my plan, and then you just rock my world with losing like people that are really, really special to me.
Oh, man.
No, my mom was my rock for sure. She's the person I called and was like, hey, I need you to pray for this, and I need this, and this is what's going on in my life, and I don't know how to handle it. And so losing that and being, I don't know, I just felt this burden of like, I'm the oldest child. And my dad passed when I was 18. And so I felt like, oh my God, I instantly at like 46 years old became like the matriarch of my family.
You were the leader, yeah.
Yeah. And I just felt an incredible burden that I wasn't ready. Like, God, I'm not ready. Even though I've been through so much. I was like, I am not ready for this. So it took a while to kind of regroup and then realize just because you go through things, God still doesn't have a calling and a purpose for you.
Right.
And that my purpose never changed. It was just another thing I had to go through and grow through to be able to make a bigger impact. And so, just kind of got back into that again. And to be honest, I needed those things in my life when I look back at it, because I wasn't coaching with the God purpose and passion in mind. I got some kind of not so great business advice when I was writing my book, and not to be too God or too Jesus or too Christian because you might offend somebody. And it didn't feel right in my soul. And
Mm.
so after going through all of this, I realized there's no way that I can coach people or tell people my story without God being a part of it, because God
Yeah.
was, like you said in Footprints, God was always with me. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have God in my life. And so my program now and everything that I speak about, God's part of it.
Well, I love what you said about you. Now, granted, it wasn't maybe how you felt when you were going through it, but when you got through it, you realized that it was what was supposed to happen, and as a result of it, now you are confident in your position and your passion, right? And
Yeah.
you mentioned,
There's times like everyone, you go through things, you can be angry, you can have those emotions. We're human, right? And I screamed at God more than once. Like, what the actual heck? You know? Oh man, like, do you even care about me? Like, what is going on here?
yeah, I've had many of those conversations myself. To be able to talk about it and laugh about it now, and understand that grateful for loving and forgiving and caring God.
Yeah.
That understands that He never turns His back on us. So and so now you've gotten through these things. You're back in place with your purpose, and now you're working with women. Can you talk a little bit about what that is, what that looks like for the ladies out there that certainly want to benefit from this conversation and they want to get with you? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. My passion really is helping people discover what their purpose is, because God
Mm,
made us all unique, gave us all different gifts and talents, and each one of us has something different to offer to the world. And we were uniquely made, and figuring out what that is, like, I'm never going to be Geoff and you're never going to be Tanya, because
yeah.
God didn't make us those that way, right? So we all have a unique calling. And and I think when we discover what that is, then you can live so much more free and more fulfilled, and really walking in knowing that this is what God put you here for. And you wake up each day and you're grateful for the morning because you're jumping into your life purpose and your passions and the thing that, like, God made you to be. So that's part of it. And then making sure that we're really aligned with that passion, with what our core values are and who we want to be, and then setting goals accordingly, and just knocking that out and creating a life that is living in your mission and what that looks like for you. And success for you and for me and for each person in the world looks very different. And it might not be a private jet or a fancy car or a big house. Your passion might be being the most amazing mom or an incredible wife or a businesswoman or entrepreneur. So whatever that looks like for you, that's okay. And just being okay with that, instead of these societal pressures that we feel sometimes to be everything to everyone. And that just kind of tears you up or makes you feel unfulfilled or exhausted or just mentally not well. And that's how when I was not staying focused on what God wanted me to do and not living my truth, that, God is the reason where I am and who I am, and is the one who brought me through all of this. When I wasn't living in that truth, I was stuck. I couldn't move forward properly. And the freedom that comes from just like living your truth and living your purpose and passion is incredible. And I want that feeling for every person in the world, to just really feel like excited to get up every day, regardless of what is going on in your life. And I've had a lot of hard things, and we don't always understand what God's purpose is in it at all until after. In hindsight, you can look back and be like, oh yeah, that was why, or,
Yeah.
there's different things that God brings you through, and you don't always understand, but
And,
there's a
and,
purpose. A plan.
and they say we're not supposed to understand, at times, it's part of just going through the process. And I love all the things. I was taking notes while you were talking, and because it's jumping into life and aligning your passion and your core values, right? I mean, those are some things. And then you said, everybody doesn't have to be a star, right? I mean, that's and because full transparency, when I started this whole thing, I was afraid that, to start small, that no one would, I wanted to be this grand, whatever in my mind kind of thing, because that's how I had success in other areas, but starting small kind of feeds into what you said. Everybody's not going to have millions of people. They're going to, their roles are all different.
Yeah.
I love that, so.
My thoughts on that is like, because I have that, I mean, we all have those insecurities, right? Who's going to want to listen to Tanya? Who's going to want to whatever?
Yeah.
And so what I look at every morning when I post is I literally ask God, what does someone need to hear today? And I don't care how many likes it gets or how many shares it gets. I just want it to impact one person.
Yeah.
And the stories that have come back to me from that, the private messages like, oh man, I really needed to hear that today. Thank you for posting. Thank you for sharing. It just needs to be one. And, if it's more than one, fabulous. But, so starting small, and like God can use, like, we don't know the ripple effect like that one person could have on the rest of the world just because of something that God inspired us to share, or a life you could save, or you just don't know. So you just one day at a time, one episode at a time, one post at a time, and God will use us to reach the people that He's trying to reach.
Yeah, I love that, because I read somewhere, heard somewhere that everybody that has a message for someone.
Yeah,
right? Everybody. Everybody means everyone. Right? There's not most people, but everybody, has something to share. So I really appreciate you going there and sharing this stuff, man. And so I want to kind of, because we're kind of getting close to time already. I mean, this is just wonderful. Thank you so much for just dropping these nuggets and doing what we knew you would do here for our guest and your guest. So you got all this going, and how's your other businesses? You mentioned, so you're in real estate, rentals, or?
Yeah, I do some rentals and Airbnb kind of stuff just to supplement. I believe in multiple streams of income and being financially independent. I don't think God has any problem with us being financially secure or wealthy at all. So I got into real estate when I was quite young, bought and sold lots of houses and flips and rentals and things like that. So just kind of go with the market. My other businesses right now, again, I've done lots of flips. I've been in many different industries, but I'm currently own a day spa and a couple of tanning salons in the city where I live. Okay. My oldest daughter is kind of taking care of most of that now. I've trained her to, run a business and get going. And my three kids are, super successful in all the things that they do, because I've preached at them since they were 2 years old about, self-development and learning and all of those kinds of things. It's been a part of our entire life. And they're young, 20, the twins are 20 and my oldest is 23. And they're all successful in their own rights and what they're doing and their career passions. And I'm a super proud mama.
Yeah, I can tell. I mean, congratulations too, right? And you're an example of our children do what they see us do, not what we say.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're proud of them, I'm patting you on the back also.
Thank you.
Because they had a good example to follow. They saw you know, at your toughest times. They saw you when you were celebration in your life, and all those things. Pass it forward to them, right? So, and I'm also in real estate, so we'll have to have another conversation in and around that. It's crazy. I've been in and around it since the mid '90s, so I love the real estate business. And
Me too.
I think the other businesses are great too. So as you now tell us about the book before we kind of wind down. I don't know if I got the title of the book. Is it published yet?
Yeah, it was released in 2021. It's called Life on Your Terms, How to Get What You Really Want. And it's basically what I believe are the 7 foundational principles that people need to build their life on. So habits and like getting your financial stuff in order. There's a chapter on that, and finding your purpose and goal setting, time management, fulfillment. It's the things that I taught my kids. So I know that it works, and it's my own life that I've lived by to build the life that I have today, and to set the foundation, strong foundation for my family and their habits and stuff going forward. So it's just a quick read. I think it's 120 pages, a little bit of, it's an easy read, but really foundational stuff to set in place to create, you know, to build your life on, so you can get what you really want.
Yeah.
I believe God does want to give us the desires of our heart, but we just can't sit back and wait for that to fall in our lap either. So.
No, I believe that he, you know, the bold prayers get the bold answers, and you know,
with bold action.
Yeah. Right? Because nothing happens without the action.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where people sometimes forget, right? Like, yeah, God did let manna fall from heaven, and there were days like that, but I haven't seen any money raining down lately. So.
No, it's not raining. You can't shake a tree. It doesn't fall out of the tree. You know, you have to.
Exactly. You got to put a little work in.
Got to put the work in, boy. But the results from the work, and really, I love how you said, you know, about getting up in the morning, happy, on fire, knowing that that's your purpose, right? And because that's funny you say that, because you know the last month or so we've really been talking about that, finding your purpose on Conversations with Geoff, because as you talk about stepping into who you're supposed to be, our lines are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in terms of the stinking thinking. Why stinking thinking? Because it's the limiting beliefs and the conversations we have with ourselves about ourselves. Conversations I have with me about me throughout my life either hindered my growth or propelled me. And the things I learned in the process, and the people that helped me, this stuff that you're talking about here that I had notes from. I mean, just all things that work, but you got to do the work. Mm-hmm. So how do people that say, hey, they're looking for somebody like you, how do they get a hold of you? Where do they reach you at? Do you have anything going on right now?
Yeah, best way is to find me on Facebook. You can DM me. I do answer to most requests unless they're inappropriate. I do have a program right now that's running live. It's a for women, though. It's called Purposeful Pathways, where we walk through all of those things and get people aligned with their purpose and mission, and help them kickstart. It's a 4-month program, so it's pretty intense. Lots of information there, but Facebook, I'm on Instagram. I'm mostly active on Facebook, though. It's kind of my where I spend most of my social time hanging out online is on Facebook. And yeah, I have a website. It's called Life My Way, lifemyway.ca. You can access all of my links to my social media, my book, and email me there if you're interested in finding out more about the program as well.
And I will attest to the fact that she does respond, because that's how I found her, you know. And yep. She was and right away, and I mean, it didn't take long to put this thing together. Yep. So I want to tell you, Tanya, that this has really been just a joy talking to you today. And,
thank you.
You know, the smile lights up the screen. I can feel your determination and passion in your life, and the humbleness that comes across for the things that you've accomplished, and just so humble. So I respect that and admire that. What
All
do
the
you?
glory to God. I'm trying to it doesn't work out so well.
Believe me, I know exactly what you mean, right? I mean, it's like, all right, I chuckle a lot, and I'll get back about conversations I have with God, kind of just personal and normal conversations like you and I, because he jokes at me and I joke back. It's not anyway. But the reminding thing that always keeps me moving forward is that we are all meant for more.
Amen.
And whatever that is, be accepting of that. Whatever my role is, I'll know it when I'm in it, and I know it now, just like you said. And having the opportunity to talk to beautiful people like yourself is just more than in terms of appreciation. So, what can you close this thing out with? What do you want people to walk away from today? You dropped so many things. I mean, I got a page and a half of notes here. What is it? How can you close us up today in this session?
I would say we are all children of God with given unique opportunities, talents, passions, gifts. And when we can step into that, what we're truly made for, that's where the joy comes, the spirit filled, sparkle in your eye, jump out of bed. That's what you need to find. And when you find that, and it might not even end up being your full-time career or whatever, but it's just something that you do that brings you joy and helps someone else. I find myself, I get the most joy, I've been blessed in many ways, but I get the most joy when I am able to make an impact or help someone else. And I think that's what Jesus did when he was here, right? It was serving people.
Yeah.
And so whatever that looks like for you, a soup kitchen or helping people on the street or buying someone a coffee or going for a visit with the elderly lady down the road, whatever it is that God calls you to do, find that and live that, and you will be fulfilled.
Man, I love that, and you were talking about Jesus, and the first thing when you said that was that I think he washed the feet of everybody at the, the most powerful being, right? Humbling himself to that level. And I don't mean to be silly, but people's feet are nasty sometimes, right?
Yeah, we do pedicures, I know.
And my wife and I go to pedicure dates, and I look at other people's feet, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm glad you're here, right?
But you know what? When I look at Jesus and being a Christian, and there's sometimes some like negative connotation around that these days, but I just look at Jesus and like God is love. If we just look at love and serving, then that's it. It'll all fall into place.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm that way too. I just think it's about love and serving and spiritual principles, being kind and honest and serving. We were talking about just helping other people. And the grace comes from the serving of others too.
For sure.
Woo! Hey, well, listen, thank you so much, Tanya. I mean, it's been a fantastic show, and I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, and maybe think about in your book, maybe there's something in there that we can plan later on in the first quarter or something that can be something that people can learn from and do a little session around one of those things, habit forming things that you experience in your book.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that for sure.
I think that would be fantastic. So listen, nice to meet you formally today and to share in this session. And great job, my friend. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Take care. We'll be in touch.
Bye-bye.
All right. Hey, listen, I mean, what did I tell you? I don't make this stuff up, right? And how we connected, I believe it was divine intervention. As I said, I was looking through Facebook and I saw her and I saw her smile and read some stuff about her. And I knew that she would come here and drop But powerful lessons around life and here, overcoming adversity, the power to come back like we talk about, right? Finding your purpose, the power and importance of doing that. Man, so go back and listen to this thing again. Earmark it so you can take more notes because there was a lot from her that you can. I know I learned something. I know you will too. So as I wrap this thing up, I want to give you this. Remember, we started out with perspective, and there's a lot of perspective pieces that she shared in this message. Guard yourself. Put a boundary around the external noise. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world that's easy to get caught up in that only steps in and blocks you from your purpose, right? Wherever you are, whether you're God, energy, whoever you believe, we don't discriminate, right? We want you to know that you're worthy and you're thinking, baby. Put that to bed. Watch your perspective. Subscribe to the show. Pass this on. Make sure you reach out to our guest, Tanya. I mean, a book she's got out there and some of the things she's got going on her 4-month program. Don't forget that. And remember this, like I always say, baby, there's no I can't, I don't think so, or maybe. It's I will, I can, and I must. And you'll say nothing will stop us from reaching our destiny. We will not be denied, baby. Those are the things that you can use right now. Change your perspective in an instant and find your purpose. Let us help you do that. My contact information is in the chat. Make sure you reach out to me. Hey, Geoff, I need some more information. I like what you're talking about. Please reach out and get a hold of me. And listen, have a great day. Watch what you say. Watch who you hang around. Watch what you listen to. Most importantly, humble yourself to being much greater than yourself, whether it be God, the universe, whatever it is. And then find your purpose. All right, gotta go. Thank you again. Talk to you soon.